very much.
Morning, Speaker.
Thank you.
Morning, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. I'm sure we all have copies of the agenda. Shall we quickly look at the agenda itself and see if we are all happy with the agenda?
Yes,
Happy?
no problem with it.
Thank you very much. So the agenda is adopted. Now, shall we look at the minutes of the previous meeting?
Apologies, Speaker. I have an apology.
I'm sorry, apologies. Yes, Honorable Mkalipi.
I have an apology for Honorable Ntlangwini, Speaker.
Apologies. Okay, Ntlangwini.
Honorable Speaker.
Yes, ma.
Madam Speaker, I have an apology.
Yes.
I have an apology of the Chief Whip who is traveling to visit the family of the late Honorable Mapatso.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma.
There was another hand.
Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
Yes, Speaker.
Yes.
Yes, Speaker. It's an apology for the deputy Speaker, Chief Whip.
Thank you very
Speaker.
much. Yes. Thank you. It seems those are the only apologies. Shall we then proceed to look at matters in the minutes? So, shall we look at the minutes? If there are no issues in the minutes, shall we then look at matters arising out of the minutes?
Madam Speaker, can I move for adoption of the minutes?
Thank you very much, Mrs. Honorable Singh. Shall we proceed to look at matters arising from the minutes?
I second Honorable Singh's proposal. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Minutes adopted. Any matters arising? Any matters arising? Yes.
Madam Speaker, I might report that the issue of assent to bills and pre-1994 legislation, the Speaker has since written to the executive on the two issues that were raised last week, as Speaker had committed in the meeting of last week. Secondly, on the matter of the ad hoc committee on Section 25, the extension was effected in the House last week until the 10th of September. Those are the three issues, ma'am, that I would like to report on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Klasu. Honorable members, if there are no other matters arising from the minutes, we proceed. Honorable members, I have received a letter from the JSC, the Judicial Services Commission, and the letter refers to the Judge Hlophe matter. You'll recall that last week, I think as we were sitting here, at the time we had not received formal correspondence or communication from the JSC, but the matter was already in the media. But on Friday, the 27th, we subsequently received a letter which gives us a report of the decision of the joint of the Judicial Services Commission in relation to Judge Hlophe. There is a proposal there that Judge Hlophe be impeached by Parliament. And so having studied the letter and I then referred the letter to the parliamentary team, to the team which advises us on legal matters. They have looked into the matter and they have since come back with this advice that we refer this matter to the Justice Committee, Portfolio Committee on Justice, And then the committee will consider the procedural aspects of the matter and report to the House. And then if we are happy, then there will be a vote in the House. And of course, a removal of a judge will require 2/3 majority. I'm sure we are all familiar with this, that Section 177 of the Constitution does state that we need a 2/3 majority. So as things are now, the letter will be referred and all the accompanying documentation. We also have in that package both the majority and the minority reports. All of these matters will then be sent to the Portfolio Committee on Justice. And then the Portfolio Committee on Justice, from the briefing which I have received will then consider procedural aspects, and then they will then report to us once they have completed that work. That's the one matter which I needed to talk to. Other issues relevant to the bills, as Mr. Paso has already indicated, I've signed letters to the Deputy President, who is leader of government business, but I've also, on the matter of the ad hoc committee, that work, I'm assuming that it's going on behind the scenes, and that by the 10th of September, we should be able to take a decision about how to take the process forward. So colleagues, that is where we are. I don't know if there are any comments on the matter relevant to the letter which has been referred to us.
Honourable Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Singh.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I had my hand up, but I think Honourable Mulder also had wanted to speak. Yeah, Madam Speaker, no, thank you for that report. I think perhaps we must also start considering the type of voting that's going to take place. Is it going to be secret ballot? Is it going to be just ordinary voting? And how are we going to accommodate the voting? Because with 75%, I think that's an important thing that we need to consider. So if that consideration can be given as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Singh. Honourable Mulder.
Yes, good morning, Honourable Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. I think procedurally speaking, the decision that you have taken to refer this issue to the Justice Committee is the correct one. It is a very serious matter. It's the first time since the adoption of the Constitution that we are confronted with this kind of situation. I agree with Mr. Singh that we will have to look at the voting procedure. It's 2/3 majority. It's not 75% that's needed when a decision is taken. My request would be, is it possible that, Honourable Speaker, your office could furnish the chief whips of the various parties in Parliament with the letter of the JSE as well as the report? Because in the end, it's political parties that will have to take the decision depending on what comes out of the Justice Committee, but not all parties are represented on the Justice Committee. And I don't think that the documentation is secret or cannot be made available to political parties. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Mulder. Any other hand?
Honourable Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Shakute.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. As the ANC, we note and appreciate the fact that you have you presented the letter to this committee, and also, Honourable Speaker, we agree with you that the letter indeed, as you have referred it to the Justice Portfolio Committee, that's the relevant committee to refer it to. As for the matter, as for the issue of voting in the Chief Whip's Forum, we were briefed that the ICT are still working on the voting process, the hybrid voting process. and for both if it will be a secret ballot and voting will be physical, so to consider the virtual voting secret ballot as well. So they are working on that, and we really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
I thank you, Honorable Lagude. Honorable Frolik, followed by
Good morning.
Honorable Imam and
Good morning,
Honorable
Honorable Speaker.
Mazzoni. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker, and to colleagues as well.
Thank
Speaker,
you.
as I stated last week in the NAPC, we are receiving a report from the ICT on electronic voting, and we should be in a position to brief both the Chief Whips Forum and also the NAPC on the work that has been done there. And we will then be able to decide the route that must be taken, probably through the Rules Committee, so that we can give implementation to the effect of electronic voting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Frolik. Honorable Imam, followed by
Thank you,
Honorable Mazzoni.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my concern is this, that not all members of the different political parties appear on the Justice Committee. That's the first thing. Now, I know you said, Honorable Speaker, that they were going to come back to us on a report on just the procedure. And my concern is this, that if the matter is going to be deliberated in the Justice Committee, is it possible that members from taking the seriousness of the matter before us, that members of all political parties that want to participate in any process before this is brought to the House for any decision? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Imam. Honorable Mazzoni.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, I'm very glad that Mr. Frolik is dealing with the ICT department and will bring us back a proposal that we can look at the electronic voting. But I must remind us that we're dealing with something that will require some haste. So the Rules Committee must be given ample opportunity to go through the findings of that particular ICT department's online voting system. We do know that online voting in secret ballot format is very well advanced and can be done. We have seen it done many times before, but we must make sure that we give ourselves enough time. With regards to the smaller parties not being represented on the committee, unfortunately, this is one of the drawbacks that the smaller parties have, and that's why they're represented by other parties, and that's why they have representation through the other parties. And I think that it is only fair that we are consistent with the way in which we handle these matters. And at the end of the day, they will be able to cast a ballot in the House. But certainly we must be consistent with the way we deal with portfolio committees, and we cannot be breaking the rules or changing the rules as smaller parties see fit because they want representation when it comes to these particular issues. It's why that we have we don't stop smaller parties voting in the House, but we certainly do have representation on portfolio committees as established by the Rules Committee of Parliament. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mazzoni. I see that Honorable Frolik and Honorable Mulder, you still have your hands up. I don't know if you want to take a second bite on the matter before
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Just in response to the discussion around representation on the committees, the Honorable Mazzoni is absolutely correct. This is how the committees has been set up after the general election that took place. But also the rules of the National Assembly, Honorable Speaker, allow any member of Parliament, whether they serve on that committee or not, to attend committee meetings and to participate as well. Of course, when it comes to voting in that committee, when that situation arises, then it is, as the Honorable Mazzoni has explained, that through the representation that they have, due to the internal configuration of political parties on committees, they will have to exercise their vote in that way. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Frolik for clarifying that matter. At this point, I will invite
Sorry,
Mr.
Speaker.
Yes.
Sorry, Honorable Speaker, I've raised.
Okay, you have your hand up, Honorable Imam, please. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Yes, Honorable Frolik has clarified the point, but I want to reiterate an important point here. And I don't think it walk over smaller political parties. There is no doubt about it that smaller parties also have constituencies that they serve. That's the first thing. And very importantly, when you have other political parties who have different visions and they are expected to go and participate in a process, Honorable Speaker, and vote also on behalf of other political parties that may have completely different views. I don't think that is actually an entirely correct process. We must be given the opportunity because smaller parties take a mandate from their political parties, and their mandate might be different to the mandate of different political parties. Exactly what happened in the issue of the public protector matter. So I think we need to be considered. There's a whole lot more I can say on bigger parties and smaller parties and why some are smaller and why some become bigger. I don't want to go into that, but I think we need to consider that smaller parties get a mandate from their parties, and it's not necessarily in line with what we're looking for. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Imam, and the point is eloquently made, and I think it's something which we have noted, which we will consider. Honorable Mr. Klaso, would you please come in?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd just like to address perhaps 2 points. The one relates to manner of voting. The Constitution is clear in terms of which issues should be voted through secret ballot. This does not appear to be one of those. But of course, the issue of whether we use electronic voting or manual voting must still be concluded. That's one. There's nothing that prevents us from making documentation available to the parties. This is going to be a public matter. This issue will be published in the ATC, in the Internal Parliamentary Journal, and will make the documentation available to all the parties, even those that are not necessarily members of the Justice Committee. Honorable Frolik has clarified the issue of participation. Any member may participate in a committee meeting, but of course may not vote. Ma'am, I think those are the 3 issues that were raised. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Klaso. Honorable Mulder.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I was going to react to what Mr. Mansour said in terms of the representation in the committees. But I'm not going to do so now. I think when we discuss that perhaps in detail, I will put my position or my view on that. If I just may react to the voting on this matter, because we all know in terms of the section 177 in the Constitution, there will have to be some voting in the House. And Mr. Kazu is correct when he says the Constitution indicates where we need secret voting. That's true in the Constitution in certain circumstances. But knowing that we are going to vote, Madam Speaker, I would suggest if it's possible that perhaps we do get advice, or you get advice from the legal team, whether the Speaker may have a discretion or internal discretion to decide whether she would like the vote to be secretive or not. In other words, we are not bound. Are we bound by the provision that doesn't say secret or not secret? I think my interpretation would be that Madam Speaker still has a discretion to decide how the voting will take place, but that is not something for now. It's something that is up the road for us waiting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mulder. Colleagues, that was, seems there are no other hands. That was those were comments on the letter which we've received from the Judicial Services Commission. It is important for us to note that even though we do have Section 177 of the Constitution, which talks to removal of a judge, I'm informed that here in terms of the regulations, we have nothing which talks to how it should be done from our side here in Parliament, but rather that we will send it to the Justice Portfolio Committee. And of course, with regards to the smaller parties which are not part of the Portfolio Committee on Justice, a provision will have to be made, as Honorable Frolick has mentioned, that there's nothing stopping people from attending and participating, so that we have a platform where you can express your views on the matter, because that's the committee which will look at every aspect of the process which was embarked upon by the Judicial Services Commission. So, colleagues, on the matter of whether we vote secret or not, Honorable Mulder says it's the Speaker's prerogative. I will definitely get advice even on that matter as soon as possible, and I should be able to report to you at the next meeting. We've also heard that from Honorable Frolick that the ICT systems are being sorted out. So hopefully, if we are put in a situation where we must vote, whether secretly or not, that our ICT systems will be ready by then. That, to me, concludes the matter of the letter from the Judicial Services Commission in relation to Judge President Hlophe. Now, if I may proceed, one of the matter, as I've said, the bills, I've sent the letter to the Leader of Government Business. The next matter is that of the Ad Hoc Committee on Section 25. Honorable members will recall that last week, we all agreed that we should give time to this committee to complete its work. Now we gave it an extension of 2 weeks, and 2 weeks, the D-Day will be the 10th of September. House Chair Frolick, do you have any additional information in relation to this matter?
Speaker, can you just repeat the clarity that you want?
No, there is no clarity. I'm just asking if there's any additional information you have on the ad hoc committee, which deals with Section 25 of the Constitution.
No, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Kaso has reported correctly that the House took the decision, and that committee is now busy winding up their work so that they can have a report before their term and their life expires. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Frolick. Then there's a hand, Honorable Mulder, Honorable Singh.
If I may assist, Honorable Speaker, I serve on that committee, the ad hoc committee, and we did meet yesterday, and I've got good reason to believe that we will complete the work in time of the current deadline, and I don't think any further extensions will be needed.
Oh, okay. Shall we deal with that matter when we get to the 10th of September? At the next, I'm assuming at the next programming committee, we should get a report as to whether the committee will be ready to report or not.
Agreed, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Singh?
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm sorry to go back to the JSC matter, but since I serve on the JSC, we get a number of queries from the media indicating, what decisions we take. But just to clarify that the JSC is the full JSC, which includes us, members of parliament and members of the NCOP. And then the JSC component that considers or that is going to bring the report excludes us as political office bearers. So just for members to understand that and the public to understand that as well. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Singh, for mentioning that, because I think it was proper for the JSC, that subcommittee of the judiciary, to deal with the matter on its own, particularly because the matter was still going to be referred to us here in Parliament. So those members of the JSC who serve from Parliament here, who represent us, will then be part of the processes here. So I'm happy that the country has made sure that there are the three arms of the state. There is no conflict of interest. The judiciary dealt with the matter. Now it is with the legislature. And following that, if all goes well, it will then be taken to the president, who is the head of the executive. So it's okay. The process is very good. I think each arm of the state will have its say on the matter. So we will then proceed to deal with this matter as now the Portfolio Committee on Justice. And let us all agree that those committees, small committees which are not represented in the Portfolio Committee on Justice, will participate so that at least they are also informed about the entire process which happened in the Judicial Services Commission. Now, thank you very much on that matter. I was still talking to the matter of the ad hoc committee on Section 25, and we've agreed that that matter at the next programming committee, we will receive a report to the issue from the House Chair, and we will take it from there. The next matter which I would like to briefly talk to which is a matter also arising, is the matter of Honorable Shivambu regarding allegations against the parliamentary legal advisors. Just to report to you, honorable members, that this matter is still receiving the attention of the Deputy Speaker, and that when he is done, we will then receive a report. And then there is a matter of the Women's Parliament, and I should say that it was very successful. Of course, I must still engage with the other presiding officers on broader matters of coordination of our work. Just to say that we've received a letter yesterday from the Minister of Women, who is requesting for a joint session of the NA and the NCOP to debate on 16 days of activism. So that matter is also coming. I just thought I should I thought I should raise the matter so that you are aware. Is there any other matter? Honorable Papo, I see your hand.
Speaker, I just wanted clarity. I heard you saying committees are going to participate in the Justice Committee. I just wanted clarity. Which committees are those?
Well, it's my English. I'm sorry, it's not committees. The smaller parties are making a point.
No, that's clear. I was a bit confused.
No, I'm talking about, I'm referring to smaller parties which are not represented in the Portfolio Committee on Justice. And I am putting a proposal here that they should be allowed to participate in that process so that they give a feedback to their parties, so that we do not find ourselves in a situation where we present the issue to a vote and people say, well, we are not informed because we have not been participating in the committee. Anyway, Honorable Frolick also further explained that there is nothing stopping on any honorable member from going into a committee when a need arises. So we will do that. So this is a matter of public interest. it's important that all of us should be satisfied with all processes which are being followed. Thank you, Honorable.
I'm clear, Speaker. I was just confused with the committee's part. No, I'm clear. I'm clear.
Okay. Any other comments on this matter? And any other comments on the matters which I have raised? None. If there are none, we then proceed. Is there any report from the Mr. Dow? Mr. Dow, am I right? Relevant to the committee section?
Good morning, Madam Speaker, honorable members and colleagues. Our report starts on slide number 3. On this slide, it is the ad hoc committee to amend the constitution. Already there has been an indication that the committee will revise its report, and then as soon as the program is approved, we will report in the next meeting. The next update is on slide number 8. On this slide, it is compensation for occupational injuries and diseases amendment bill before PC on employment and labor. The committee has finalized its work. The next update is on slide number 22. On this slide, it is the second special appropriation bill before Standing Committee on Appropriations. The committee has developed a program wherein it will get briefings from departments and entities, and it will hold public hearings on the 17th of September, and then adopt the report on the 21st of September. The next update is on slide number 24. On this slide, it is the gas amendment bill before PC on mineral resources and energy. The committee is planning to have public hearings in 7 provinces. The dates are indicated, Madam Speaker. The next update is on slide number 24. On this slide, it is the copyright amendment bill before PC on trade and industry. The committee postponed finalization of the bill on the 27th of August to give the department sufficient time to respond. The next update is on slide number 25. On this slide, it is Performance Protection Amendment Bill before PC on trade and industry. The committee also postponed finalization of the bill to give the department sufficient time to respond. The new date will be added. The next update on slide number 20. On this slide, it is Upstream Petroleum Resources Development Bill before PC on mineral resources and energy. The bill has been referred to the National House of Traditional Leaders on the 19th of August for submissions. The deadline is the 18th of October. The next update is slide number 32. On this slide, it is Sectional Titles Amendment Bill before PC on Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. The committee requested permission to go beyond the scope of the bill, and the plan is to finalize the bill on the 7th of September. The next update is on slide number 33. On this slide, we are providing the updates or progress report with regard to NHI processes. On this slide, we are showing that as far as the email submission is concerned, the work in terms of report is almost 80% done. With regard to substantive submissions, the work is 95%, and the hand-delivered submissions, the work has already started, 10% thereof, and the overall report, which was supposed to start on the 1st of September, has already started, and already 15% work has been done. The next update is on slide number 37. On this slide, it is the Economic Regulation of Transport Bill before PC on transport. the committee is planning deliberations during the September month with the date indicated, date to finish not yet decided. The next update is on slide number 38. On this slide is National Road Traffic Amendment Bill before PC on transport. The committee's planning deliberations during the month of September, date to finish not yet decided. The next update is on slide number 41. On this slide, it is expropriation bill before PC on Public Works and Infrastructure. The committee has finalized its provincial public hearings and will consider oral submissions during the 8th and the 9th of September and further deliberations thereafter. Date to finish not yet decided. The next update is on slide number 42. On this slide, it is Transport Appeal Tribunal Amendment Bill before PC on transport. The bill is to be published for public inputs. The next update is on slide number 44. On this slide is Children's Amendment Bill before PC on social development. The committee is planning the public hearings during recess in various provinces as indicated on this slide. This completes our report, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Honorable Tau. Any comments, colleagues? Any comments?
Madam Speaker, I see the hand of Honorable Papo. I don't know if it is on this matter, and Honorable Singh.
Yes, Honorable Papo. Honorable Hope Papo.
I've lowered my hand.
You've lowered your hand. Honorable Singh.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and thank you for that report. I thought this may be an appropriate time, just when we getting a report on bills and committee section, just to talk about and get some feedback from Mr. Kaso, possibly on what are called green papers by government. Now, we know green papers are discussion documents, and then white papers come as bills before committees. But I want to know, to what extent has the Department of Social Development or the Minister placed that green paper, which deals with policy, before a portfolio committee? Because it becomes quite embarrassing when we as members of parliament are asked about the contents of a green paper, and then to find that it has been subsequently withdrawn. So I don't know if there's any precedent in this regard, or whether or not, we should, ask the respective members of the executive to even place the green papers before portfolio committees, even before it becomes a white paper. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Singh. Any other comments? The person responsible for committee is that you, Tobile? Will you please clarify us on the matter raised by Mr. Honorable Singh?
Madam Speaker.
Yes.
Ms. Bulele, if I may, ma'am.
Yes.
May I request that we obtain more information on this, and I commit that at the next meeting we will give a proper report on what happens with green papers and whether this specific one has actually served before this committee. We were not expecting this question, and therefore we would prefer that we obtain the information and make it available to honorable members properly.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaso. I hope that is agreed to, Honorable Singh.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yes, fine, thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, the next item on the agenda is The report on the bills, but that's what. Yes,
Yes.
reports on the bills.
Yes,
Please write him.
Honorable Speaker, good morning.
Tobile, yes.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker, and good morning, honorable members. On our report today, we're reporting on Section A, line 2 and 4. The Portfolio Committee on Employment and Labor reported on Employment Equity Amendment Bill with amendments and the Compensation for Occupational Injuries and Diseases Amendment Bill, also with amendments, and both bills appear on the order paper for second reading. And on Section B, number 16 and 19, there are two bills passed by the NCOP, and the bills were returned to the Assembly for consideration of the Council's amendments. The bills appear on line 16, which is the Criminal Law Sexual Offences Amendment Bill with proposed amendments, and the Domestic Violence Amendment Bill also with proposed amendments. And yesterday, Honorable Speaker, Parliament passed the Criminal and Related Matters Bill, and the bill's office is processing the bill, and it will be sent to the President for assent as soon as possible. With your permission, Honorable Speaker, can I hand over to my colleague, Advocate van der Merwe, to report on Constitutional Court deadlines. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tobile.
Good morning, Speaker. My name is Charmaine van der Merwe. I'm a Senior Parliamentary Legal Advisor with the Constitutional and Legal Services Office, just like my colleague Tobile. We give reports to this committee on judgments by the Constitutional Court that relates to matters where legislation was found invalid and where there is a time given to Parliament to correct such matters. We send a report that contains everything, and my presentation focuses on those matters where there has been some progress. So for this report, I want to give feedback to members on the matter of New Nation movement. This affects the Electoral Act, and it deals with the matter of independent candidates. Now, the Department of Home Affairs was scheduled to brief the Portfolio Committee on their progress on this matter. However, that meeting was postponed. Our office is currently preparing letters to send to the department to find out what the progress is on this bill, as the deadline to correct this defect is 10 June of next year, and it is getting a bit close. The next matter is the matter of Kulani versus the South African Human Rights Commission. It's a new matter, but we can report that already the department has briefed the Portfolio Committee on Justice that they are working on legislation that will address this concern. And Speaker, those are the only two matters where there was movement that can be reported, but all the information on all the other matters can be found in the report that was circulated to members of this committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. van der Merwe and Ms. Tobile. Any comments, honorable members? Honorable Swart.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker and colleagues. I think it is of deep concern that the issue relating to the amendment of the Electoral Act is not progressing satisfactorily. Speaker, in previous meetings of the Programming Committee, the Deputy Speaker indicated concerns as well. This is a matter that requires urgency given the extent of the amendments that are required. So I think we need to monitor this very closely, given the fact that the order lapses on the 10th of June 2022, which is less than a year away. But this is extensive electoral reform that is required. And I would urge you, Speaker, and all of us as colleagues to monitor this very closely. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Swart. Any other comments? Further comments? None. Okay, we've noted your concern, and I'm sure Ms. Tobile and Ms. van der Merwe will then pursue the issues you have raised. It seems to me that there are no hands. So we've dealt with the matter of the bills. I will now invite the Deputy Speaker, the Deputy Chief Whip, to take us through the parliamentary program, the draft parliamentary program. Ms. Lagude.
Honorable Speaker, I'll request that Mr. Tasso assist in this regard. Where I am, my network is not stable. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm happy to do that. Today being the 2nd of September, we're dealing with the report of the Justice Committee. So the report of the Rules Committee on mechanisms for monitoring replies to questions. And
Madam Speaker, sorry. Madam Speaker.
Yes.
Julius,
Yes. Yes.
I don't know whether other members can hear it, but there's an echo coming from Mr. Kasso's sound.
There is. Yes, there is. Mr. Klasso?
Madam Speaker, is it better? Oh, it's bad.
Well, I don't know, but can we hear at least the essence of what he is? Can you continue, please? Let's hear and.
Is it better now, ma'am?
It is better. It is better. Thank you.
All right.
You may proceed.
2nd of September, we're dealing with the Rules Committee report. This is on mechanism for monitoring replies to questions and establishment of a new portfolio committee, and the report of the Committee on Tourism, and these two reports of the Tourism Committee, and the Higher Education reports, and the Joint Standing Committee on Defense. Then tomorrow, we start with Member Support and Policy Facility Forum. And at 10 o'clock, we have questions to the President. That is tomorrow, Friday, 3rd of September. And then on Monday is constituency, Tuesday, member statements, and of course, the report on the Financial Sector Laws Amendment Bill, and the second reading debate on the Financial Sector Laws Amendment Bill, and report of the Basic Education Committee on the performance of the department. And the 5th item, again, basic education on oversight to the Gauteng province, KwaZulu-Natal province, and the Eastern Cape province. Then we take motions without notice, notices of motion. And on the 8th, we have questions to Cluster 4, economics. And on the 9th, we take program committee in the morning and condolence motions on the members who have passed on. And then on the 10th of September, it's committees. And the following week, the 14th of September, it's a consideration of the Police Committee report on appointment and introduction of National Forensic Oversight and Ethics Board. And again, another portfolio committee, Police Portfolio Committee report on interviews for candidates for Critical Infrastructure Council, and a petition on Mrs. Nikki Kenya on the death of her husband. And on item number 4, the report of the Police Committee on oversight to the Central Firearms Registry. And then on the 15th of September, we take a report, of course, starting with committees at 9 and 10, Chief Whips Forum, and at 3 o'clock, a report of the Portfolio Committee on Public Works, on and infrastructure on the 2021 first and second quarter performance of the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure and Property Management Trading Entity. And the second item, again, is Public Works Committee on oversight visit to the parliamentary villages. 16th of September, there will be committee reports there, and the reports must still be finalized. 17th of September is committees, and the following week, we take member statements, legislation committee reports, and debate on Heritage Day. The topic is transformation of the heritage landscape to reflect democratic South Africa. Motions without notice and notices of motion. And 22nd, questions to the Deputy President. 23rd, questions to Cluster 5. And 24th is a public holiday. And then the following week, we take member statements, legislation, of course, starting with committees in the morning, and then PC on human settlements, water and sanitation. And honorable members will be aware that this report was done before these two committees were split into human settlements and the other water and sanitation. Again, the fourth item is the same committee. These are activities that took place in March of 2021. The fifth one, the same. It was on the 5th of August. Then motions without notice and notices of motion. 29th, committees. And again, at 3 o'clock, questions to Cluster 1, Peace and Security. And 30th for now, Program Committee, Multi-Party Women's Caucus, and mini plenaries. 1st of October is committees, and then we get into a committee period of BRRs, budgetary report and recommendation reports. I do need to state on
You're gone now. Yeah.
The Constitutional Court decision comes out, and the elections is on the 27th of October. The program will change, and both the NAPC and the Chief Whips Forum will be convened to decide on the new program. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Apologies for the connection issues.
Thank you very much. The strange thing is that you are here in Parliament, which means that there's a problem of networking in Parliament as well. So it's a matter which requires our attention, colleagues. Because I am here.
Madam Speaker?
Yes, Sisi.
My apologies. I forgot to introduce our new programming whip, Honorable Mainali Soma. Unfortunately, she's coming down with flu. Her voice is a little bit disturbed today. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Lakude. Colleagues, are there any comments on the report which has just been presented to us? I see Honorable Mazon, Honorable Singh, and Honorable Swat. In that order, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Castle. Colleagues, I do think we need to be very aware of the fact that it's becoming increasingly disturbing that we are completely planned for an election to be postponed. And we now see we have a program that goes well into the month of October. I do think that if in fact it is the case that the Concord finds that the election should be on the 27th of October, we cannot be in a position where we are rushed and have to act in an extremely urgent and almost unreasonable fashion to come together and quickly scurry around and try and find a way in which we can push through what we absolutely need to. So I do think that it would help tremendously if we have an outline of a program presented to us, even if just by email, that allows us to see what the thinking is behind what we will do if the Concord comes back and in fact announces that the election will stay firmly put on the 27th of October. So I think that it is a precaution that we need to take now so that if the Concord makes that decision, we're not caught running around at the very last minute. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Swat, followed by Honorable Singh.
No, thank you, Speaker. I am largely covered by the issue of the elections and the Concord decision. I just wanted to alert, this might have been discussed when I wasn't at the WIPS meeting or elsewhere, that the plenary on the condolences on the 9th of September is indicated to start at 10 a.m. and I have no objection to that, but that one presumes no caucuses will be held on that Thursday to give the condolences due consideration. If I have my recollection correctly, that's Thursday, the 9th of September, 10 a.m. So I just have that confirmation from Mr. Castle. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Swat. We've noted that. Honorable Singh.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Yeah, I just think on the matter of condolences, we've got 200 minutes allocated, and perhaps we must think whether we want to run it from 10 until we adjourn, or break for lunch, because it's a matter of 20 minutes. But also just to indicate that as far as the just to correct the timing of the Member Support Forum meeting tomorrow, it's from 8:30. It's not at 10 o'clock. The current program reflects 10. So it's at 8:30 to 9:45. And then the other thing is on the plan B, if there is an election, we must also have a plan B if the election is postponed to February, because it's going to affect SONA and other things that normally happen at the beginning of the year. So I think we must plan for both scenarios as we move forward. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Singh. Honorable Lagude.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we use the Chief Whips Forum as a consultative forum where we process issues before they come to the NAPC. In that meeting yesterday, we were briefed by Mr. Klasso that they do have Plan B. And even before we went for our constituency period, they presented that if the elections will be held in October, so they will be, what will happen is that Parliament will come back to deal with those statutory items. So like the appointments and all those things. So that is what was presented to us. If we can go back to our archives and check the reports that were presented by Mr. Klasso and the team. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Yes, that Thursday of the condolence motion, we agreed in the Chief Whips Forum that it will start at 10 o'clock. Yes, it will start at 10 o'clock and break at 1 o'clock for lunch. Then we come back. That is what we usually do when we start our program at 10 o'clock. There will be break for lunch. Then we proceed after that. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Jakude. Honorable Julius.
Thank you,
then
Speaker.
I allow you, Mr. Klasso, to come in.
Thank you, Speaker. I think it is, I note what Honorable Lakude said, but I think it's only fair that we are given an opportunity on the effect of this program for this term as we stand now. The things that were presented previously will not affect this. I note also that Mr. Kasu said last week that if the election will be held on the 27th of October, there might be legislation and the condolences motion and other stuff urgent things that we need to do. So I agree that Mr. Tasso or the team can give us some guidance on what they propose. Madam Speaker, we also said that there will be an urgent meeting called by yourself or the programming committee and the Chief Whips Forum to discuss any changes to the program. So to preempt and make that meeting easier, it would be advisable that we have that guideline on what is proposed, and we can add as parties represented, then we can add to that. It will only make it easier for yourself and us and the Chief Whips Forum. But also, Speaker, that we might want to think about, because it will affect the programming of the term, like Mr. Singh said, we might think about an urgent joint programming committee also. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Klasso. I also want honorable members to note that time now is 9:30 and people must move on to their caucuses at 10 o'clock. Mr. Klasso?
Madam Speaker, we will certainly present these proposals in preparation for both the Chief Whips Forum and the program committee next week, but we'll do that before these meetings happen. So we'll certainly do that, ma'am. And the proposals will take into account a scenario that has elections on the 27th of October, and what we propose should be done in that event. At this point, we may not be able to go into next year until at least we know what is happening with the elections. At that point, then we'll make proposals even for next year. Certainly, the Joint Program Committee will have to be convened as and when it's appropriate. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaso. Are there any other comments relating to this matter? None. I don't see hands. Mr. Julius, you still have your hand up. I think you didn't take it down.
It's an old end, Speaker, but I think the matter of the urgent meeting is not addressed. If the Concord gives us the outcome today or tomorrow, I'm surely think we cannot wait until the next programming or chief whips meeting. We need to inform our members timelessly and discuss it timelessly so that we can approve it in programming. So what's your view on that, Speaker? Thank you.
No, Ed, obviously, if the Concord should have ruled on Tuesday, isn't it? And if there is a ruling, maybe today or any other day, obviously the Secretariat will then prepare for a programming committee meeting, an extraordinary one, so that we can then discuss the matter and see how we proceed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, are there any announcements? From my side, I'm told there are none. So it seems there are none, colleagues. We then adjourn our meeting until next week, Thursday. Thank you very much, honorable members. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable
Thank you,
Speaker.
Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.